Hello, everybody. International Master David Pruce back here with a fun and educational chess video for you, hopefully. Today we're going to be continuing to work on my own Blitz Chess. I've already made my return to tournament chess that I'd been preparing for this summer with training games and tactics and this Blitz thing, but I still want to get my Blitz rating over 2200 here, and also these kind of videos are just pretty fun for me and everyone else. So let's start searching for a game. I'm going to be doing 3 minutes plus 1 second increment. And let's see. And after each game, I will go over the game and provide some commentary and insights into what was happening. So let's get to the screen share because we got a game starting. Today we're going to be playing the Caro Kann as black every chance we get, which I haven't yet done in any of these videos. The previous video I played the Sicilian every time, and the video before that I played the French. So today our repertoire includes the Caro Kann, the exchange variation by white. It's often used with c4, but here he's playing the simpler version of the exchange variation, just developing the pieces. All right, after this move, what am I supposed to do? He's avoiding knight f3, bishop g4. And if I go h6, he can go bishop h4, bishop g3, which seems good for him. So I think I might want to play e5 here. I think that might be the right move. Let's just try it out. I'm not sure if that's right or not. But I know there are some positions where you can play e5, and I just want to give it a try. Okay, so now if I take with my queen, he can block with his queen. Or he can bring his bishop back to e3 and then get a tempo back with knight f3. Let's just go with this. If he plays queen e2, I think bishop g4 is a fine move. Get here. Get this. So the threat at the end is knight d3 check. And unfortunately for him, he doesn't seem to have prevented it. So we will take it. I guess he'll have rook b1. So it's not so simple. Maybe I should play bishop c5 here instead of taking on b2. Knight b2, rook b1, knight d3, rook b7. Yeah, that's not amazing for me, actually. So I'll just try a little more development, see what comes of this. The threat of knight b2 will be annoying at some point for him, so I don't have to rush into it. I'm down 30 seconds because I'm explaining as I play. And I think what I wanted to do was just focus on the playing a little bit more and then explain and analyze afterwards. So I'm just developing, even though it lets him double a pawn and play b4 and save his pawn. Now he could possibly play rook d1, but I'm getting a very fast development. I'm hoping that's going to do something for me. Rook c8 is a good move. Rook d1, maybe knight b2, rook b1, knight a4, rook c1, rook c8. Could be a way to play that. Okay, let's throw this in, see how he reacts to that. Because that seems like a pretty good threat, rook c3. Yeah, his rooks are more awkward than, oh, rough. His rooks are like way more awkward than my pieces in terms of trying to get them developed and coordinated. So the position's looking quite good for black now. Okay. that looks possibly game losing. Takes here, here, here. Comes up. I can't get more than that. Well, it's good enough. It is definitely good enough. All right, and he just resigns. Well, I mean, the key mistake, I mean, the pretty much losing move is probably like this knight b1 move. Let me analyze it. Okay, so up through here is normal, and here, like, you know, if he plays knight f3, I play bishop g4 and get a good development, and meanwhile the queen stops bishop f4. So I'm kind of taking control of an important diagonal early. And I think sometimes they play h3 here to stop bishop g4, and then I'm pretty sure e5 can be played. That's probably what I was thinking of. Here, I don't know how good this is, but what are my other options? I can develop the knight and give him the option of trading that. That's sort of the main other option. So let's see how good or bad that is. If he does nothing, I'll play bishop g4, and I think my position will be pretty good. So let's say he takes it, and I take here. He plays, I don't know, something like this. Make sure my bishop is stuck in before I can, and my rook is stuck in. Because if he plays knight d2, trying to avoid bishop g4, then this move looks pretty thematic and good. Hitting here and trying to develop bishop g4 and castle queenside. So once I've taken on this doubled pawn, the odds are that I'm trying to castle queenside. So this move, hitting these pawns a little bit, this move, this move, this move. I don't know. White's position is pretty good, actually. I'm not thrilled about this. So I'm not sure what to do, actually, about bishop g5. Like, logically, what does it make sense to do here? There's nothing that looks good to me in any obvious way here. I mean, I can play e6, bishop d6, knight g7, and just play with the bishop locked in. It's not thrilling, but it might be playable. Might be the best I have. But let's see this e5 move and how good or bad it was as I played it. So he definitely wants to take it because the e4 is annoying. Plus, I might even be able to take this pawn. So, okay, he takes. I take here. His alternative was bishop e3. And then I was thinking to go like here, here, here. It's just count development. For him to connect rooks takes 1, 2, 3 moves. For me, it takes 1, 2, 3 moves. So development's equal. I have an isolated pawn. Yeah, I would say there's a pretty good chance this is equal. Or, I mean, like a normal slight disadvantage for black. So totally playable. So I guess this idea was fine, what I did. He played queen e2. Now the follow-up is bishop g4, forcing that trade. Tempo, tempo, tempo. All those moves forced, and at the end I'm threatening this. The king isn't that bad because it gets out of the way of the rooks, and it's pretty easy for me to go tuck it away if I want to. 2 tempi to connect my rooks. He needs 1, 2, 3. So I'm 1 tempo ahead. I traded the right bishops, the ones that attack and defend this pawn. So my worst bishop and his better bishop have been traded. So that's not a bad trade. And he's a little bit weak on this knight d3, knight c4 thing. Yeah, I think this position was totally acceptable. This is a fine way to play for black. And now he starts playing weird. I guess his best move is probably king d2 and then king c2. Probably. Because now it's a little bit awkward. Or maybe he should just play king e2 and force this rook thing. See how good or bad this weird line is. Leading to some weird stuff. He's developed faster than me, at least. Oh, my knight's covering rook c1, so I won't hurry to move it. It can always get out here. Yeah, I guess this seems like, I don't know, weird and playable. Okay, so maybe this was totally the correct way for him to play, and he just has to play king e2 and force the issue with this knight b2 thing. Oh, I remember. Instead of playing knight a4, I was considering playing rook e8 here, but does that really change anything? It doesn't actually. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, so that doesn't really affect anything. Okay, so this is what he should have done, and he would have been fine. Maybe I even threw this check too soon, but he was going to castle. Oh, then I could check and take on f2. Okay, so in this position, what I could do is maybe just play a developing move. And if he castles, I'll play knight d3 check and play knight f2. And in fact, I'm sort of threatening knight d3 now because of knight f2. So the threat got bigger. And if he has to stop it with a move like this, then actually this move should be kind of annoying to him. Yeah. Okay. So that means I actually misplayed this here with the knight d3 check. That was a big mistake. I should have held it for a move, and I was afraid of letting him castle a queenside and just didn't notice that. So, okay, anyway, check. Big mistake. Number one, king f1. Now, good move, not taking on b2. Yeah, so I had the right kind of idea. I just transposed the moves on it. The idea is like you want to kind of threaten this, but you don't want to necessarily do it too quickly because it creates a mess. And this move is good if he takes it, and then he has to come here to stop this. His pieces are so awkward. And what I want to do here is maybe just play this move, threatening knight b2, make him deal with that possibility. Because if he goes b4, then I think rook c8 will be very strong, like in the game. And if he plays rook b1, well, great, good to know that's what he was going to do. And then bring the rooks to the open files. I guess he wants to go g3, king g2, but then I'll have rook e2 as soon as he does. So I can actually play probably a very simple plan here and just try to penetrate. Yeah, I would venture to say that black's almost certainly better already at this point. So he goes b4, bishop b6, this move, and now, yeah, here I'm crushing, or here I'm already in really good shape. So the last interesting thing here would be this move, trying to dissuade me from getting to here in time. And I was thinking about this maneuver. But does his knight actually have any threat? If his knight doesn't have any threat, I can still play this move, even though it looks scary. Maybe get a good position. This move, maybe? Oh, that's actually kind of sweet. The same move that was like terrible in the game is actually sweet once the rook's out of here. It neutralizes my rook, coordinates his pieces. I wonder if he could even... I don't think he has time to do this, does he? Here, here, and now this? Yeah, that loses. Yeah, so knight b1, and the game actually continues. Knight b2, rook here. Yeah, he's totally in this game. So on rook d1, maybe I'm right not to go rook c8. Maybe just play this move like I'd planned, and then here, 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 here. Oh yeah, this is strong, right? This is much, much better. So yeah, so that's the right idea. Knight b2 right away to get his rook off of this counterplay. And going to a4 is pretty good. I could also play c4 here for white. As probably an improvement for him. And here, and here, and here. Yeah, I mean, now it's much more plausible for white to try and defend this, but black still has an advantage just because they're going to get their rooks active before this one can get in the game. So black's going to have some kind of advantage, but I don't know the size. Once he played this move, then rook c8, and there's no good answer to rook c3, establishing this knight here to keep his rooks out, and black's crushing. So let's get another game started. But obviously knight b1 here was you know, made the situation totally hopeless. And I can do whatever I want from this point. But of course, bringing this knight in to now control the squares to keep this knight even more stuck in here while attacking both of these pawns is the obvious way. So after this, takes, here. Oh, the same opponent. All right, let's see if he plays the Caro Kann. Nope. All right, but this is a rare opening, so we don't get to see it too much. I'm going to play a bad line, but a weird, but just something different. It's the 2-pawn attack. I used to play this when I was like 1600 or 1700. Just give it a try. Right. Okay. Which way do I take now? It's been so long since I played this. I think I actually take with the D pawn to just develop my pieces. He takes on c5, queen g4, and there's some counterplay. Yeah, so let's just do that. Just bring out all the pieces. Sounds a little bit too old in my repertoire for me to be using this in one of these games because I don't remember enough to really teach you anything about this line. But DC, it lets you put a rook on D1, which is going to be nice to sort of keep his pieces bottled in there. And I think maybe I should go bishop G5 and castle queenside. If he plays F6, you can just take it with your bishop because there's that pin. If he goes here, I feel like playing H4, just trying to keep him bottled in. I don't want to trade and bring his queen to E7, slight improvement on his queen. The other move I considered was just bishop F4 backing up. But, you know, him taking it, I play HG, and then the H7 pawn's under real fire. That's something that looks appealing to me. So I'm not worried about him taking this. I'm not really worried about any of the things that are happening so far, yeah. So now we'll come here. There's a number of plausible moves here. I mean, you could go bishop B3 to play C4 and attack the D5 pawn faster. But really, he's already kind of like weak on the king side, so it makes sense to try to make progress there. Okay, so now if I play H5, he can take on G5, win the pawn on E5. All right, so maybe now it's time for C4, adding some pressure somewhere else. The other option is rook E1. The other option is like bishop H6 or something. What can he do? Not too much. Well, you know, let's just increase the pressure somewhere else with C4. Oh, down to a minute. All right. Let's hurry this up a little bit. If I trade and play H5, he can play G5. Oh, but then I can take on H7. But trading on E7 gives him room to castle queenside. Right now, he can't even castle queenside, which I like. All right. I thought he might do that. And this just lets me target here a little bit better. So now, take with my pawn to play G4 and activate the rook, or I can bring the knight in here. Yeah, takes. The knight seems good. It can go to H7 and F6 before he can castle. So that's going to be the decider. HG also has some good plans associated with it, but this one is the sweetest, as you two would say. Oh, whoa. The sweetest thing. Knight on F6. Another good option there instead of knight H7 was rook E1. The threat being probably to take on D5, E takes, and then push E6. But that tends to bring his bishop into the game and sort of like open things up and develop him. And I actually think that I can kind of make life really miserable for him without opening the game up that way. Maybe take here now. Oh no, takes, knight takes, queen e5. Gives him some counterplay, so let's not even do that. Let's just keep developing, because his position is so miserable. I can also bishop g6, pawn takes, knight d5 check, queen f7. Takes, pawn takes, something or other. "30 seconds? Could I be any slower?" I had a number of options for how to win back my pawn there, different ones. What the heck? Sorry about that. All right, let's just do a quick review of this so we can get another game in. I can try and get one more game in. Okay, so the idea here is basically to weaken the d5 square for yourself so black has a perfect outpost. No, I mean, you gain a little bit of space with your pawns and make the position a little bit messy, so black has to make unusual decisions. Now, you can play knight c3 or bishop c4 first, either one, and then come here. So it's a gambit. Sure, he takes. This is fine. I mean, you can also take this way and have a stronger center, and then it's like a wing gambit, right, where you've given up a b pawn to get more presence in the center. But since he has plenty of room to try and like trade off your center with his pawns, I was less excited about that than one of these kind of gambit styles where you try and get your heavy pieces onto the open files and actually put pressure on him where he's got a lack of space and his freeing moves are hard to play or not very powerful. So yeah, he can't castle because of bishop h6, I believe. So that leaves like bishop f8 and rook g8 as moves here. I don't know if taking the gambit pawn is actually even a good idea here. I think white has pretty decent compensation here. If he plays d6 here, trying to break before I can play rook d1, I have simple bishop g5, tempoing his queen, and he doesn't get anything good out of this. If queen here, I have castle, and he's still, stuck and under pressure, and if f6, I can take it, as I said in the game. So knight c6, bishop g5, he comes back. This was cool. If he plays h6, I can take it. So he's kind of stuck with these pieces like this, and that's keeping his queen from moving. Maybe what he should do here is just play d5 in one move. Since d6 isn't going to work out, I'm just going to castle queenside on it. So maybe he should just play d5, castles queenside. He's saved a tempo compared to the game. That said, white's position is fine in my opinion. Plenty of compensation for being down a pawn like this. You see all kinds of pawn sacks like this one in the French defense, advanced variations, and so on. But yeah, that was definitely an improvement for him to do that because basically he just lost a tempo there. This creates a weakness on the king side, right? No good way to handle this. If he played rook h8, I would trade and then get this pawn. That's why I went for bishop d3 here. So it forces some kind of weakness. G6, c4, h5. This was all fine. So the reason why this is also good is like, okay, so he's playing, queen e7, g4. Takes, bishop d7, rook h7. Castles, queen f4, rook f8. So what you're doing as white is you're just creating this like serious weakness here and controlling this file. You can even play queen f6 to maybe go into an endgame, because if he lets you bring your knight to g5 at some point, well, then you have to defend this pawn. I mean, white's fine here, compensation, but yeah, that's not as convincing as what I did with knight g5. The one thing I'm curious about is if instead of doing this, if I just played rook AG1 and this, how good of an idea is this? That's what I want to know. It looks just bad, right? I've just let all his pieces out, and I don't actually have a way to break through here. Bishop G6, Rook G6, Knight F7, Queen F7, Knight E6, Pawn E6. Yeah, I don't see any breakthrough, so that would be just terrible, actually. And how else do I increase the pressure here? No, I did the right thing. Yay. Knight H7, check. We get here. Now I just played this. Yeah, it seems like a fine way to go. If I took, takes, my queen's hanging. If I try and play Knight C7, so I have to trade queens first, get here. And now this move looks quite good for him. Right? Pretty close to a dead equal endgame. So that's not exciting. So I played rook E1, basically threatening to finally win this pawn. He plays that to save it, and now, yeah, you know, bishop G6 never works, I don't think, because of this move. So D4 also stops my second plan of rook E3 to F3. So now it seemed like I need to try and break through on the D file. His rooks aren't yet coordinated, so I play here. So I can just take this and take here. Bishop D7. Now I have 3 ways to win a pawn, and I didn't know which one to do because I had 20 seconds. So the options are take, take, take. I don't know, some kind of pressure here, clearly. He doesn't have tons of good moves. And I guess I can't play Queen F6 because of this. And he can't play King G7 because of Queen F6. I can just do something like this. Maybe come here, trying to do something like this. It seems good for white. Maybe better than what I did. It looks pretty good. Another alternative is take, take, rook takes, trying to get the file. But what I was thinking was if he just comes here, I wasn't sure necessarily of how I win this one. But I guess, yeah, he can't trade everything into this endgame, can he? Because of this stupid move. Or can he? I don't know. This endgame looks really scary for black. I imagine white can... I'm not sure. Okay, so I went for this, which is the least obvious of them all. Idea of coming back here, and he gets really fine coordination. It's not a huge advantage. It's basically, the advantage is all based on attacking his king long term. Like, you can play this move, right? Threatening here. So maybe he plays this one. And then what you want to do is play like here and maybe here. But now he can take here and take here. Yeah, not a huge advantage, not convincing at all. I think black's okay here, totally fine, just threatening to take on e5. I mean, then I get those pawns. Wow, same opponent 3 times, huh? All right, well, we'll make it another Caro Kann, but I'll hopefully try and play a slightly different variation so that we get a little bit of something different. All right, what else could I do that would be different here? I'll play this instead of what I normally do. It lets him play bishop f4. Well, now I get the really good position. Okay. So now I can show you guys the dream position. Should I worry about that? Could play knight e4. Takes, pawn takes. Sure. So this knight's basically going to trade for that one when it develops. And yep, I will do it. Actually, that bishop's not great. And he can just wait, and I don't want to take on g3. So then, like, if I play bishop d6, these pieces are stuck. So he probably wants to castle queenside. Let's just prevent that. Okay. So now he's not castling queenside. Or probably not. And neither am I. And I'm happy with both kings on the king side because his king will be a bit weak. But it's not clear at all. His bishop pair still gives him a lot of counterplay. Okay. Well, I was going to play for e5 anyway, even if he castled kingside, to open up lines towards his king and get a good square for my knight somewhere in the center. So this is fine with me. Once I castle, he can really start coming for me. Well, I got to. All right, now there's not really much time. This opens my queen to threaten knight e5. And it also just, to open the d file by playing d takes c3 if he lets me. Queen h6 doesn't checkmate me yet. In fact, g6 will always defend for a couple moves. I mean, he might have a perpetual check, but I won't lose to it. Well, I could lose to it. So let's say he plays c4 here, offering a queen trade. I could trade queens, but I've sacked a pawn to try and get his king. So that wouldn't be great. Okay, so now he wants bishop h6, but knight e5 seems good. I could take first, then queen takes, and again I have to choose whether to trade queens. Yeah, this seems right. Take this pawn. It gives me knight g6 as a defense of my king side at any point. If he takes on d4, oh, I was planning queen d2, king d2, knight f3, but he actually has bishop d2 now. Oops. Well, that changes things a little bit. If he takes on d4, I will play bishop b4 to keep queens on the board, since I'm trying to make an issue of his king. All right, here it defends my king's position. So it's definitely the optimal square. And it gets out of like rook e1, lining my queen up with the bishop, which would be bad in some cases. All right, he wants to defend that. I think I want to play rook d8. I don't know which rook is better there. Good defense. Let's grab a pawn. That looks bad for him. His king's officially open. King D1, I can take it. That move, sure. Okay. Right, he's trying to get that on me. So this threatens queen f2 and f5. That's my tactic. He was trying to go for rook h1, hit the queen, then get h7, which wouldn't even hurt me that much because his bishop's pinned, so his queen really can't get there. Oh, nice one. That was a good one. Why does white win? I still have 5 seconds. Feels like it must have been lag. Well, white doesn't win, but the game is actually still not over. I was thinking rook d8, queen e5. Yeah, he's still totally in the game. Where did I miss my chance to win this? I mean, obviously, I'm up a pawn and his pawn structure is terrible. And if it were a tournament game, yeah, black can totally win. But there's been no knockout. I wonder. Where's like a crushing move? Trading actually gave his queen the d file. That was like slightly wrong. And this bishop's not that great here. Maybe I should just be bringing my bishop back at this point. Target this and just reconsolidate and admit that I don't have a checkmate of any kind. That was annoying. Or can I play f5? I didn't want to like force him to take this pawn. Let's see. Yeah, as far as I can tell, there's no win to be had yet. Not with that. So there was no reason to give away that pawn. So yeah, maybe just, start to bring the queen back and the bishop back. Huh, so my bishop h4 move was probably a bad move then, actually, since it didn't actually hurt him. I played bishop h4 and he just played this. Yeah, that didn't help at all. But he was going for rook h1. Right, my other way to deal with rook h1 is just to play g6. And then I don't waste time misplacing my bishop. Well, one thing this shows is it was probably right to grab on h2 because somehow I can't checkmate his king. So at least getting up a pawn is something, right? And then come back. Let's just go back a couple more moves and make sure that that's true and that there isn't something better. So queen c2, that was pretty slick. Right, and this move also dealt with this. I mean, if I played g6, is that somehow better? Should be 4, I don't know, rook here. Bishop here. Nothing special, yeah. I mean, So one of the mistakes I made here was overestimating my position, thinking it was like really crushing, but all I can do is win this one pawn, win one of his weak pawns and keep playing. I mean, he's left with this pawn structure. So, you know, believe me when I say that at a master level in tournament games, you know, this position that we got, I do wrong. Well, I forget the exact move order now because it's a blitz game. But anyway, that's some position of this kind here. You know, just bringing back the queen calmly, defending this, blocking this file with the extra pawn. That at a master level, you have a very, very good chance to eventually win this kind of position. And that's, I guess, enough. But I was going for too much there. And also, I erred again on the side of explaining too much during the games instead of just trying to play the games well. So next time, I will go back to trying to play the game as well as possible during those 5 or 6 minutes to give us a better game to then comment on afterwards, instead of trying to explain what I'm up to as I do it. I just think like sort of saying what's going through my head is like a fun thing to sort of like try and for the viewers to like be in there and sort of and to sort of be able to sort of like hear the stream of consciousness and try and like see my thought process. But if I actually think instead of talking about my thought process, the thought process is actually a lot faster and there's a lot more going on. And just what I managed to recap is not quite a fair rendition. So next time I'll try to comment even less, but then to comment after the games. But if you have any preferences on that, please let me know in the comment section, as that would be appreciated. But the next video is going to be an educational video, a lesson, because I have something planned and I've just been waiting to do it and wanted to get in one of these first. So yeah, no progress on my rating. In fact, I probably just lost 28 points by flagging in that winning position. I really thought I still had 5 seconds, but there's a 1 second increment that I thought I could play on, but apparently not. So I'll have to work on that rating a little bit still. All right. Hope that was fun, and see you all later.